And oh, there we go.
Hi, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff podcast, where we talk about all things Star Wars. I'm Ray.
I'm James.
I'm David.
I'm ready.
And today we are going to talk about people being horrible fans, to put it nicely.
That's probably the nicest way to put it. We all kind of had bad, not bad, but yeah. We all had our own word for what we were gonna say at the beginning of this. But yeah, so yeah.
I like to call them toxic fan base. I mean, that's just a word for all of them. Just toxic people that are fans of Star Wars for some odd reason.
They
What about-
typically tend to refer to themselves as the true fans, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Ray, tell us. So you texted us today, and all of us got really mad, like really mad. So go ahead and tell us what happened.
Yeah, let me pull up what I had said. So I said, just popping in to say the next man-child to say that Rey is a Mary Sue is going to get a direct punch to the neck. Because specifically last night, my friends and I were horrifically harassed for the simple fact that we like Rey. I will never understand that.
I will never. As you can see behind me, I have 1, 2, 3, and there you don't even see the other ones over here of like Ray posters that I have up, and I don't understand why. It just makes me really upset. What did they say to y'all?
It's a wide variety of things, but a lot of them will range from calling Rey a Mary Sue, saying she's not a Skywalker, telling us that we're not real fans, that we're only into the sequels. We only like we only like Star Wars because Kylo is hot. You know, anything to invalidate us as humans. Some of us have gotten like actual threats. I know one person who has gotten a death threat.
What?
Yes. I wish I was exaggerating and making this up.
And they say they're the true Star Wars fans. Is that what you're?
Yes. People hate Rey so much that they feel the need to track down cosplayers on the internet to harass them as if they are the ones who created the character. It's borderline comical in how ridiculous it is.
David, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't get where it kind of all stems from, really. I guess it's bad parenting.
I mean, geez, yeah.
I
mean,
I kind of grew up in an environment where, I mean, I was babysat by nothing but my female cousins, and they were all strong women and grew up to be strong women. And I had many aunts, and the whole thing about like females leading films was always puzzling because it was talked about a little bit in the 90s, but I was always like kind of taken aback when they would say, oh, Leia's so revolutionary and Ripley's so revolutionary. It's like, well, I mean, they should do it more. And yeah, it that has never made any sense to me. And then when we got Rey in The Force Awakens, I was like, okay, right on, finally. I mean, we're getting a female protagonist in Star Wars. It's a main character. And Daisy Ridley like pulled it off completely. I mean, she
perfectly.
was the quintessential like light side user, and I didn't even think about like any type of backlash that she would receive. She was an unknown actress, and she did a fantastic job as if she was already a superstar. And that was one of the remarkable aspects of The Force Awakens. I was like, wow, they really did it. They really found a star. So I didn't think any of this would ever happen. I didn't think we would ever talk about any of this. I mean, it's such a weird situation, but I think the fact that hate really gets clicks is probably one of the big issues. A lot of sites out there, a lot of groups want to hate on Rey and call her a Mary Sue, and it's like, I've already explained this on the podcast. It's like, some people are just naturally talented in things. I've had friends growing up that are just naturally more talented. I was in the 3rd grade, I think, and I had a classmate. She came in. I remember her name was Jessica, and she could draw like professionally in grade 3. And I was just like shocked. I was like, how can you do that? I knew no one, no boys, no girls, not even adults that could draw as great as her. I kind of wonder where she went. I haven't caught up with her. I haven't tried searching for her on Facebook. I don't know her last name, but I mean, she was incredible. And I asked her, where did you learn how to draw like that? And she said, I just self-taught. I just learned by myself. I mean, some people just have the talent. And to me, Ray had that natural forceability to be who she was. So she didn't necessarily have to learn or be taught really anything. She was in tune with the force.
Yeah, when she meets Finn and he mentions Luke Skywalker, she says, I thought he was just a myth, which means she grew up hearing about the Jedi and Luke Skywalker. And so she knows all these stories. She thinks that they're myths, but she grew up learning about the Force.
Yes.
So it's not like it's a new concept to her.
You know, a lot of people forget that there are those good grammar there, but there are those moments in The Force Awakens where she's like Luke Skywalker, and then whenever they meet Han Solo, she's like, "You're Han Solo. This is the Millennium Falcon. Like that ship there has been the Millennium Falcon the whole time. You were the great general." And you're right. People kind of forget that she already knows the history of the same history we know in Star Wars. And so, of course, yeah, she grew up with these legends. She grew up knowing what the Jedi could and couldn't do. And so, I don't know. It just makes me mad that people talk that way about her, because I like Rey a lot, but then also how people treat others who like Rey, and that one just blows me away. And I'm like, why are you mad at me for what I like? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And I don't know, that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, that's the nature of the internet these days. I mean, people get likes and more responses out of hateful comments towards other people than they do about, nice things. I mean, well, when we talking about this the other day with someone spreading rumors about the trilogy being, retconned and just thrown out with from some YouTube user that's just making stuff up. And it's crazy to me because some fans view Star Wars as such an obsession that they want to control every aspect of it. So when something comes out that they don't like or they disagree with, the only thing they have to do is lash out to the people that actually enjoy it and enjoy it for what it is. And it sucks because there's a lot of people, I think, Ray, you had mentioned in your text that 2 of your friends no longer watch Star Wars because of the harassment and because of all the lashing out that they've been taking. That's sad to me. That's fans lost in Star Wars, and that's not what Star Wars is about.
Yeah, it's pretty much the exact opposite of what Star Wars is about.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what happened to, you said you had 2 friends who are completely not watching, not even Star Wars fans anymore. What happened to them, if you want to share that?
So they were just general Star Wars cosplayers, and they also did Rey, and they received so much hate, bullying, and sexual harassment from doing that they no longer, one of them quit cosplay altogether, and the other one doesn't even talk about Star Wars anymore.
That's sad. It's crazy to me because I was born in the 80s. I grew up in a weird time. I mean, James grew up at the same time I did. David's a little bit older than me and James. All right, I don't know how old you are, Ray, but I'm sorry. I'm assuming you're younger than us.
Probably.
But it's crazy because we grew up in a time where it was before the internet, before cell phones. I mean, the first Nintendo console, the first gaming console I came in contact with was Nintendo. We had to watch VHS. I remember watching Titanic on 2 different VHS tapes, and then boom, we hit the internet age, but growing up, like me, I was just one of those stereotypical jocks in high school. I did sports, but when the internet came out, I started getting into a lot of nerdy stuff, anime, Star Wars, video games, just all kinds of crazy stuff. So I started doing things outside of the norm, but you still had that kind of hate and that kind of bullying for doing that and going outside and being friends with the wrong people in high school. And I feel like fans today are kind of doing the same thing, but they're grown adults yelling at kids for no reason at all.
Which that actually reminds me. There was a specific incident where a dad posted a video of his 7-year-old daughter in a Rey costume dancing, and she received like violent threats from grown adult men because she liked Rey. A 7-year-old child was threatened.
What do they hope to accomplish doing that? Like, what is it they are? Is it them being like, if I do this to this 7-year-old little girl, they're gonna change Star Wars for me? Like, what is it that they hope to accomplish with what they say online? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like,
one of them is just preventing people from watching the sequels. They want to try to erase it from Star Wars history, which if canon was decided by the fans, we'd have a very different Star Wars. For me, I would no longer have to hear about anything that happened in episode 2 because I don't like episode 2. But that doesn't change the fact that episode 2 is canon. Mm-hmm. We don't get to decide what's canon. The creators do.
And I grew up, like Rudy said, and I remember watching the prequels, and I loved the prequels. Like I thought episode 1 was great. Episode 2, not the best, but it's still Star Wars. I'm gonna watch it.
Exactly.
And Revenge of the Sith was awesome. But I remember years later, and I'm reading these articles of people who hated Jar Jar, and I was like, whoa, people didn't like Jar Jar? Like, for me, I was just so naive, and I was like, it was cool. It was awesome. And then I started reading more into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that nobody likes that character. That poor actor, almost kills himself because of the hate he gets. And bullying in Star Wars is, and I hate to say it, it's nothing new, but with the advent of the internet and how, your TikTok channel can, go to hundreds of millions of people now, like it's easier for these haters just to be like, oh my God, Star Wars. No, you're doing it all wrong. Whereas back in the day, it wasn't as loud, but it was there. And if you go back, even George Lucas was bullied for Star Wars. Like, the creator of Star Wars is bullied for Star Wars, which is blowing me away. And then the fact that people are doing it today to just regular fans just blows me away. And it just upsets me that we all like the same thing. We all like Star Wars. We all fell in love with Star Wars, and all of our journeys are different in Star Wars. So why is that give one person the right to hate on somebody for that? You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
That's what's most mind-blowing to me, is it's people who like Star Wars are attacking people for liking Star Wars.
Yes.
It's just because I like Rey and you don't doesn't make me any less of a fan than you. You like Anakin, I don't. That doesn't mean you're not a fan. Yeah. I mean, what is so wrong with people that they are so consumed with contempt towards other people who like the same things as them or different things from them?
It's all about control. It really is. It's all about fans wanting to control Star Wars and the narrative of Star Wars, or they want you to like the same things that they like, the same way they like them, and for the same reasons. And it doesn't happen that way. And I think there's an episode that James and I did, and we've even touched on it a little bit. I think actually Sam said it the first time we did an episode, was like, going to a movie theater, watching The Force Awakens or Rise of Skywalker, even The Last Jedi, you see kids at the edge of their seats. Like, this is their trilogy. This is their Star Wars. And that's amazing. I don't know. Like I hear these stories, and I think of my son whenever he grows up. What is he going to like? What is he going to get into? Is he going to be bullied for liking something that somebody else likes, but he doesn't like it the right way, or he does it the wrong way? Like, I really don't want to think about those things, but I do. It's just, I don't know. It's insane.
Yeah.
And Ray, you you wrote something, and I've been dying to hear what you wrote.
Yeah, okay.
I'm nervous to hear what you wrote because
When I get like emotional about something, especially angry about something, I'm not always perfectly coherent. So I had to write it out to make sure I got everything out and off my plate. So
okay.
I think that the legacy of the Star Wars fandom is hatred and bullying and harassment and gatekeeping. I mean, it's in other fandoms. I've experienced it, I've seen it, but I've never seen it to the degree that you do with Star Wars. And I'm not saying that all male Star Wars fans are like this, and I'm not saying it's only male Star Wars fans that are like this, but I do have yet to encounter a non-male Star Wars fan telling me that I should go die for liking the sequels. Like every single day, our comment sections are filled with comments from people claiming to be true Star Wars fans saying, and these are quotes, "This girl doesn't have a clue about Star Wars. You're ruining Star Wars. You're making yourself look like a fool. This new generation of Star Wars people are stupid. Cosplay somebody better. And Rey is the literal worst character to possibly ever exist in the entire Star Wars galaxy and saga." Someone once even told me that women stole Star Wars from men. And I'm like, excuse me? The genre, the entire existence of science fiction was created by a teenage girl, Mary Shelley. If anything, men are the ones who stole science fiction from women, but I digress. And every time I see somebody post about Rey, it's all hate, and it's all Rey is in Mary Sue and Rey is into Skywalker. And I don't understand why these people are so pressed about these issues that they have to seek and harass cosplayers because they're not the character, and they didn't create the character. They're just having fun as the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get into all the reasons why both of those statements are incorrect, because the people who believe those things probably either can't read or understand the incredibly confusing concept of adoption. But what I will say is, to put both of these arguments to rest, is in the Rise of Skywalker novel by Ray Carson, which is canon, it said about Leia, and she would pass them on to the next generation. Her Skywalker legacy would go to Rey, Organa would go to Poe, and she would try one last time to pass her Solo legacy to her son. And I'm not saying you have to like that Rey is a Skywalker. You are free to disagree with that decision. But what people need to accept is that it's a part of Star Wars canon now. We can disagree with canon, we can dislike canon, but it is canon. Whether we like it or not doesn't change that. And onto the other one, where May is a Mary Sue, so many people use this term even though they have no idea what it really means. A Mary Sue is a type of fictional character who is portrayed as unrealistically free of weaknesses. And it's often an author's idealized self-insertion fanfiction. So what I want to know is what is about Rey that is so lacking in weakness? She has a lot of weaknesses. And if Rey has no weaknesses, then describe to me why a 9-year-old human child can fly and win a pod race when he's never done it before successfully. And explain to me how somebody who has never even heard of the Force is able to wield it with no training and destroy the Death Star. Rey isn't a Mary Sue. You just don't want to see female characters who aren't there to be sexy. So people need to quit bullying people about those two things because it's tired, it's old, unoriginal, and factually incorrect. And I'm not trying to convince people to like Rey. I'm not even trying to convince people to like the sequels at all. The point is people can like different aspects of Star Wars, and that doesn't make them any less of a real fan. A real fan is someone who finds joy in something, not someone who tears others down for finding joy. So the next time that these people get upset about seeing a Star Wars fan liking something that they don't, just remember those grown adults who threatened a child for liking Rey with bodily harm. That's who you are, that's what you're doing, and that's the kind of person you're becoming. And to the people who are on the receiving end of this bullying, do not let those people stop you from finding joy in something you love. Life is too short to spend it worrying about what other people think of us, and we are under no obligation to appease those who seek to hurt us. And you can quote me on that.
I agree.
End of rant.
That was very well said, Ray. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wow.
That was
Colin, you came into that halfway through, but I think I got everything off my chest.
And you did say something interesting about Anakin flying, on a pod racer, because it is said in the movie, I've never finished a race before.
Yeah.
But he finishes the race and we're all happy.
I mean,
Luke
let's
Skywalker.
let's forget about the fact that he figured out how to fly a damn jet into space and blow up an entire ship the first time ever doing it too. So that's beside let's just keep going.
And then Luke, is flying an X-wing, and here's one thing that people were like, how did Rey even know how to fly? I was like, she said she could fly. They're like, but they didn't say she could fly the Falcon. I was like,
right.
How did
Does
Luke
it
know
matter?
how to fly an X-wing?
Yeah,
Luke never
and
flew an X-wing. He was he flew something almost like that, and then that was it. That's all we needed to hear back in 1977 to accept Luke Skywalker is a pilot. In 2015, Rey says, I'm a pilot. Everyone's like, how does she know how to do any of this?
She's a woman. She doesn't know how to do this.
Ships before. I've just never left the planet. So she's flown plenty of times.
Exactly. And I'm like, they do say it. It's there, and one of the things that I always kind of think, I know there's probably canon stuff now, but just going off the movies, Luke to Empire Strikes Back calls the lightsaber to him in the cave with the Wampa. Right? Nobody has ever taught him that he could do that. I mean, don't think about the books that have been written. Just think about the movies right now, from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back. Out of nowhere, he reaches, he grabs the lightsaber, he cuts himself out, then he cuts off the arm and he runs out. Everybody was like, dude, that's so cool. Rey does something in The Force Awakens. Everybody's like, how does she know how to do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why does she? Of course she knows how to do that. She knows how to do everything. And it's like, everybody calm down. There's a thing called story development, character development that is there in Star Wars, and we've seen it with Luke, with Han and Leia. We're seeing it with Rey, Finn, and Poe. We're seeing all these characters grow up, and there's enough there for us to accept. But for some odd reason, with this new trilogy, nobody wanted to accept a lot of that. But back in 77 and 80 and 83, we were all like, yeah, this is cool. Luke Skywalker trained with this little green guy for a couple of days, and now he's ready to fight. Yes, this is cool. Rey trains with Luke for how long? Is she ready? No, she's not ready. She wasn't even there that long, and it's like,
I think a lot of that comes from, I think we forgot how to watch movies properly.
Yeah.
Because if you really look at The Force Awakens, there's a lot more in film explanation for how Rey's able to do what she does, if you pay attention, than there is for how Anakin can do stuff and how Luke can do stuff. It's just I think we're so used to having information spoon-fed to us that when it's something you have to infer or understand about what's going on in the universe, you don't pick it up right away, and so you automatically just decide it's not there because it wasn't handed to you.
So, one of the biggest arguments I get into about The Force Awakens is actually Rey's and Kylo Ren's fight scene at the end of the movie. And, they're like, why? How does Rey know how to use the lightsaber so well? I'm like, in my head, I'm watching, I'm like, you see it right there. She closes her eyes, she gives herself to the Force, and she lets the Force take over. That's how she's able to beat Kylo Ren. And it's like, the fact that you don't understand that and how that the Force works for the Jedi, like that makes your argument of her not being able to wield a lightsaber is stupid.
And that's literally the exact same thing Obi-Wan tells Luke in A New Hope: use the Force, and he does, and he blows up the Death Star.
Yeah, exactly.
It works. That's how it works. And somebody says she has more midi-chlorians, obviously. Obviously.
Okay, well, one thing that really just never ceases to blow my mind.
What you got?
Rey grew up alone on a desert planet, a harsh desert planet, protecting herself with a stick.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She gets older. She's mastered using this stick. She now finds a glowing stick, but she doesn't know how to use that.
Yeah. That one got me really because you see her in The Force Awakens take those dudes down with her staff, and you even see Finn
Yeah.
go like, all right, you don't even need my help at all to do any of this. And you brought up a good point because when she's fighting and the way that Abrams shot that fight in The Force Awakens when they're first fighting each other, Kylo Ren and Rey, she's defending herself. She's like using her skill, but you could tell she's not 100% there until she's like use the Force, just be with me if you may, and then you see the power come into her, and then she's like, I know what to do now, like I got it. And then it's like, yes, that's awesome. Like, and I don't understand why everyone like, oh, how does she know how to fight with a lightsaber?
And
That
did
doesn't
we
make
just
sense.
forget that Kylo was shot in the side by Chewie's bowcaster, and he's also not trying to kill her because he wants to teach her?
And on top of that, we've seen how many times in the Force Awakens you see Chewie's bowcaster like completely demolish people, throw them in the air. Kylo Ren takes the hit like a beast, and still manages to get up as well. He's not even 100% to fight, to do that. And there's so many things in Star Wars for Rey that make her one of the coolest characters, but people are just so mad that it's a girl that they don't want to accept that.
But
And
don't tell them that it's because it's a girl, because they'll get really upset that you think that they're sexist when that's exactly what's happening.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's crazy. Like, I remember when the Force Awakens trailers came out, and it really pushed Finn as like everybody thought Finn was going to be the next Jedi, and everyone's like, oh, okay, finally, a story about an African American Jedi, cool, other than Mace Windu. But then when you find out that Rey is the one that they're talking about, even then, like that's really cool. And I remember my wife saying that when we went to go watch the movie, she's like, man, I really like her. That's awesome. It's cool to have a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And the fact that people hate on that, just I don't understand, dude. I really don't understand. Like, it's 2021. Why are we still getting upset about women leading roles in a movie, especially in Star Wars?
it doesn't make any sense.
Nobody got upset when Ahsoka kind of took over Clone Wars.
Well, I mean, there was a little backlash. But then everyone kind of was okay because she ended up being, But at the beginning, Ahsoka was like not there. Nobody was on board for Ahsoka.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, no one really liked Ahsoka. Like, after the Clone Wars movie, I don't think people really started liking Ahsoka until maybe season 2, because of season 1 was that adjustment period, because of Dave Filoni was still trying to figure out what to do with the character. And then you get to near the end of season 2, and you're like, Ahsoka's like a really good character. Like, what's going on? And something great about the Clone Wars, and something great about the sequel trilogy, is that you are seeing these characters grow up. So it's I think that a lot of people like don't Rey for some reason. And I think one reason, which I will never understand, like, people are hating on Rey when she is a gender swap of Anakin. Like,
seriously.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
Somebody once said that
yeah.
Sand Girl has taken over Star Wars. I was like, hold on a moment. So Anakin grows up on a desert planet. He is Sand Boy. His son grows up on a desert planet. He is Sand Boy Jr. Then you have Rey, who grows up on a desert planet.
Yeah.
She's Sand Girl. It's all the same.
It's the same thing.
It doesn't.
It really it doesn't make any sense to me why people give. Well, I think people hate the sequel trilogy so much because it wasn't. I think it's more the fact that they didn't like the fact that Disney took over the trilogy, and it wasn't really a Lucasfilm kind of a deal. People didn't like the prequels at first, but then after a while, they're like, oh man, these are awesome, because it was still George Lucas. These movies are not George Lucas. I mean, yes, George Lucas was there from time to time on set or giving advice to Abrams and Johnson, but it was still a Disney production. This was all Disney trying to get through, and I think that's what a lot of fans have trouble dealing with. But really, I mean, they're all just misogynistic, sexist pigs that don't like the fact that a female is a leading role character in a Star Wars movie.
And like, you don't have to like Rey, and if you don't like Rey, that doesn't necessarily mean you're sexist and misogynistic. But when you start like explicitly hating on her, saying she's a worthless character, somebody once told me that she's not essential to the plot of the sequels.
What? That doesn't even make any sense.
She's the main character. That's like saying
She's
that
the
Luke
main-
isn't essential.
She's the main person of the whole sequel trilogy. You know, like, okay, so with Irie, I still remember when I saw her in that first teaser with that bump, when you see Finn pop his head up and you see her in the speeder, I was just like, oh, there's the girl. Like, that's going to be the girl in the movie. Oh, that's cool. You know, and I was like, okay. And then I remember even in the Chewie We're Home trailer, I'm still like, oh, there's the girl. Like, that's still pretty cool. And then I remember the poster came out for The Force Awakens and she is smack dab in the middle, big, holding the staff. And I just remember going, oh, I don't think she's just the girl in this movie. And then when the trailer came out, I was like, oh no, she's the, and I said, oh no, because when Force Friday came out, I did not buy her action figure. Because I was just like, it's the girl. I wasn't being sexist. I was just going like, I'm going to get her later. But I really wanted to get Kylo Ren. And then when I went back to the Disney store, all her figures were gone. And I was like, oh, God, I think I missed it. I messed up big time. And then in The Force Awakens, I'm like, oh, she's awesome. She's awesome. And then when she calls the lightsaber to her and it flies by Kylo Ren as she catches it, I had tears in my eyes because I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is the best thing that's happened in Star Wars in a long time. And I was so happy, but I was so mad at myself that I did not get her action figure when I had the chance. And but yeah, it was it was a big, I love that they made her the main character of the sequel trilogy. And like David kind of said earlier, it was like, it was about time. It was like, good grief, it took us all this time to kind of get here. Like, we got here, but geez, man, and I was so happy. And then you get online and you're just like, what? Like, why are people being complete jerks to her and to other people who like them, like me for liking them? People at work even say like, oh, she's a Mary Sue James. And I'm like, do you want to have this discussion? Because, all of us right now, we just had that discussion where it's like, if you compare it, it's nothing is different with her. She's different, but there's a lot of plot points that they purposely did so we could, relate to her from Anakin and from Luke. And like you said, what was it? Sand Girl? Was that what they? Yeah. And then I was like, well, what did that make Anakin? What did that make Luke? Like, are they not, also the, sand people, if you may? And I don't know, man. I think that people were just mad a woman took over, and it's like, what is wrong with society?
And she wasn't there in some Hut Slayer bikini for them.
Yeah. I like what Carrie Fisher said when they're like, how do you feel about that costume? She goes, well, I killed the guy who put it on me with a chain that I was hooked to. She was like, I was like, that's a good way to put that, But David, I mean, what have you like, you're a Star Wars fan. Have you like
wait, David's a Star Wars fan?
David's Star Wars fan.
Huh?
Like,
what happened?
Have you read any of like the stuff people have been saying about Rey and everything? And like, what's your argument toward that?
Yes, I've read a lot of it. I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of channels. They're all talking about how we need to delete the sequel trilogy. And it's like, it's just misfounding. Most of the people that follow these channels are just loaded up and juiced up on like keyboard courage. They'll type anything and everything without any repercussions. But when you see them face to face, it's like, oh no, I like the sequel trilogy. Everything's good. And it's like, where were you? I like on the internet, it's a strange thing to me. I was super excited when we got Rey. And like I said before, I'm pretty much echoing what I said before, but it's strange. It's strange to me, but I think basic psychology kind of says that the people that hate like this are people that are like really hurting. Like there's something wrong. They're in an abusive relationship, or there's an issue at home, or they hate their job, and they want to take it out somewhere. And this is where they're taking it out. So there's a part of me that does feel sorry for those people for when they're in that certain situation where they're just kind of like really hurting. So it's an unfortunate situation, but I mean, we have kind of the hindsight of the prequels, and we've mentioned it several times on the podcast that let's just wait 10 years. The sequel trilogy is going to be just so beloved, and I think that's going to happen. I want to say The Last Jedi is going to be like, well, that was just like Empire Strikes Back, guys. I mean, it was so revolutionary, and it's going to be like, what?
Yeah, I think that's, and I'm not just because I'm a Last Jedi fan, but I have a feeling.
No.
What are you talking about?
No.
But
James
I have
is
a
way ahead of
feeling.
the curve.
I have a feeling that it might not even be The Last Jedi. It could even be Rise of Skywalker or The Force. Like one of these movies in the trilogy is going to be, above all the rest of them. That in 10 years or 15 years from now, we're all
How
gonna be
dare
like,
you, sir?
wow.
How dare you?
Exactly. But even us, we're all going to be like, wow, like that movie took off. Like, Empire, I don't think they anticipated Empire Strikes Back being the beloved, movie, 41 years later. When they made it, it was a good movie, but nobody else really liked it when it came out. And now it's considered one of the greatest Star Wars movies, if not one of the best movies ever made.
It literally has one of the best cinematic reveals of its time.
Oh yeah,
Luke, I am his father is like one of the most coined phrases of Star Wars.
If you haven't seen Star Wars, you know what that quote is.
Yeah,
but yeah, I have a feeling like in 10 or 15 years, it's gonna happen to the sequel trilogy, and we're all gonna be like, wow, like another generation is gonna just fall in love with it. Like Rudy's son is gonna grow up and he's gonna be like, oh my gosh, these movies are awesome, and you're gonna be like, man, you should have heard all the crazy stuff people were saying about this movie, and they're not gonna believe it. He's gonna be like, no, these are awesome. And you're gonna be like, yes, they are awesome. But I don't know, man. Like I think that's gonna happen. Rey's gonna end up becoming one of the greatest things in Star Wars. As Anakin, Luke, and then Rey. It's all gonna flow together.
And then Max Rebo.
And oh jeez,
Jesus Christ.
Okay, that was only one I joined to you.
It doesn't apply to
me. Hey, I hope you know that. Like, no talk a little crap about The Last Jedi, but I'm wearing that like the shirt for this podcast to show that yes, we do like to rant on some things, but just doing a full thing with picking on someone because they like a certain thing, that's not okay. That's 100% not okay.
And I remember one of the first conversations David and I had. He said, "I didn't like The Last Jedi," and I'm just like, "Uh-oh," And this is us recording the first podcast. Like this is me going, oh, this is not going to be good, But we ended up talking about it to where I was like, oh, okay, I see why you didn't like it. He sees why I liked it, and I was like, okay. And then we still we're like, okay, we could still do this. And like Colin doesn't like it, Matt doesn't like it, but I know, I like it. I like it. I know Joseph doesn't like Attack of the Clones, but like Joseph always says, he's like, I'm gonna watch it if it comes on. Like I'm gonna watch Attack of the Clones.
It's Star Wars. I'm gonna like it regardless.
Exactly. That's I always tell people, they're like, "Are you easy to shop for like birthdays and everything?" I'm like, yeah, because if it says Star Wars on there, I'm like, thank you. Like this is the best thing. So me being that big of a Star Wars fan and hearing about people being bullied, I'm like, what? Like this thing that I like love and adore, are people getting made fun of for liking it too? And it's like, it just makes me mad. And it makes me mad that it's, I don't know, these picking on people they don't even know for liking something. And they're
keyboard
like,
warriors, man.
I'm a true fan of Star Wars, and because I like Star Wars so much, I hate you. And I'm like,
oh my god.
Star Wars holiday special enters the chat. Okay. So we can
Yeah, and I actually have 3 girls, and Rey, I think, was their way into Star Wars.
She was mine.
And I'm super thankful for that, because my daughters were like, when are we gonna go see this, Dad? And I'm like, now, let's go. Put Star Wars stuff on, let's go right now. And yeah, I mean, those are experiences I'll have forever taking my daughters to the theater and them wanting to go see Star Wars with Dad. And then with Rogue One too, Jen Urso was front and center, and my daughters were like, let's go see this. We want to see the next Rey. And I was like, okay, well, let's go. And that's a way in for female fans, even though there was a ton of female fans already.
I'm not laughing at you, Dave. Colin has Max Rebo coming in.
Colin, David's talking about something really important right now. David.
He's frozen.
All I saw was Max Rebo on the screen. I lost it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Keep going.
But they showed that beautiful video at Celebration, and Colin and David and I were in the room at the 40th anniversary of A New Hope, where they honored Carrie Fisher. And at the very end of that video, you see a little girl dressed up as Princess Leia, and I was like, that's Star Wars right there, man. Like the legacy of Star Wars. You could be a young boy or a young girl. You could fall in love with it. And I was so glad, with Kathleen Kennedy at Celebration 2015, when they were like, what character did you want to be in Star Wars? And she was like, well, there wasn't many options for me to be. She says, but I guarantee you all that is going to change very, very soon. And everybody went crazy. And she was right. Like Rey coming out, Ahsoka gets brought back, in Rebels, and Jen Urso and all these other characters that you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I don't know, I've never. And of course, I can see all the guys going, what do you mean? They're making it all political. They're trying to make a statement in Star Wars. And I'm kind of thinking, like, did you even watch the original Star Wars movie? Like, George Lucas was trying to be kind of political, and he was trying to make a statement. So I don't know. Like, but in the end, I like that they chose Rey to be the main character. Like, that was the best. Okay.
Bye, Colin.
Bye, Colin.
Was it something
I think he got mad at us.
Well, what's crazy? Like, reading into how George Lucas came up with the concept of these movies, it's all based off theology and religion and just clear ethics of how he thinks, the world should be and act. And like, there's certain characteristics within all these movies that he tried to put into his movies. And, he comes out and says, this movie's made for 12-year-olds because he wants to show them specific things on how to act, on how to be kind and do more for not just yourself, but for everybody else around you. So it's crazy to hear people say, yeah, they're trying to be political. No, they're not. I mean, Star Wars has had that subtlety since the very beginning. George Lucas wrote it that way. Yeah. Maybe on his third draft, but I mean, he still wrote it that way.
It wasn't his third draft, trust me. Sorry, I'm reading all about the early versions of Star Wars right now, and it wasn't even the third draft. But anyways, there's
there he is.
But yeah, I hope, Rey, that this doesn't discourage you from doing more Rey cosplaying.
I mean, no, you can't bully me out of this. This is something that I love, and if you're going to try to attack me or get me to not like it, then you're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, my friend.
That's a good way to put it. But I just wish I could have I just wish I could have a conversation with these people who are like, man, like, like you don't even understand Star Wars. And it's like, what you like? Okay, so a friend of mine, she listens to the podcast, and I was writing her because she was trying to get her YouTube channel going, and I was trying to like say, hey, this, and then halfway through our conversation, she said, thank you for not being condescending when it comes to Star Wars. And I was like, what do you mean? She says, a lot of guys, when they find out a girl likes Star Wars, they immediately start quizzing them to see, what is your knowledge of Star Wars? If you don't know this, then you don't understand Star Wars. And I was like,
I just do that to everyone. And I don't care if they're male or female. I want to see how much they know.
Well, I want to see how much they know, and if they don't know it, then I'm just like, oh man, you should learn this. This is pretty cool. Like,
let's go on an adventure and learn more together.
Yeah, and like she was like, I've never seen Empire of Dreams, the making of Star Wars, and I'm like, you gotta watch Empire of Dreams, the making of Star Wars, And so she said, like, a lot of guys, and she even wrote me the other day, and she said, man, I put up a video of me talking about Ahsoka, and this one guy just kept writing her paragraphs after paragraph saying you didn't say this name right, so you don't even know what you're talking about, and you have this and this and this, you got this wrong and you got this wrong, and you shouldn't be doing this anymore. And I'm like, wow, like why
one of my favorite stories of that is it was right after The Last Jedi came out, and I forget where I read this, but a girl was in a comic book shop looking at Star Wars stuff, and two guys came up behind her and started harassing her because she probably didn't know anything about Star Wars. So she deadpan turned around and said, "Luke Skywalker dies," and they hadn't seen the movie yet.
Man.
Oh, that's
That's
Like,
what
she
you
had
get
that-
for being a gatekeeper.
yeah, she had that card ready. She was like, boom, there it is. People that are bullying others probably haven't seen the Ewok movies. You know what? That user does have a point. I'm gonna say it's like if you, jeez, but gatekeeping is something that that's a term that I've heard only because of Star Wars. Like that
Exactly.
term I never heard before until Star Wars, and I had to look into it, and I just see, and on TikTok and all these people saying like, stop, like just because I like Star Wars doesn't mean like you can't tell me why I shouldn't like Star Wars and why the reason I like Star Wars is wrong. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense because it's all Star Wars. That's what I understand. I
don't get it.
What are you laughing at, David?
So yeah, you brought up testing people's knowledge. I had my trivia right here. I wanted to do some trivia.
Well,
no,
hey,
no.
when
But
someone
no.
tries, if
No,
someone
go on,
tries to gatekeep me, I'm just gonna turn around and say, okay, name all of Padme's handmaidens, including the ones in the deleted scenes. Go.
You know what? that is solid. I think I can only name Sabe. That's it. I don't
Me
know any
too.
of the other.
I know Sabe, Erte, Rabe, Sashe, Yane, Ele, Mote, Dorme, Corday.
Corday.
Faye.
Corday, yeah.
There's like, what is it? There's one that starts with a T that doesn't end in an A sound. Tekla.
Harambe.
Boom, done.
Okay,
Boom.
now I need that to
Canon.
be a meme.
Now you need what?
I need that to be a meme.
Yes, that's a good
Harambe,
meme
the unknown Padme handmaid.
for all you
It's-
Star Wars fans
Very
who are
funny.
like, you don't understand Star Wars because you like the sequel trilogy. It's like, okay, then tell me all Padme's handmaidens. You're like,
Harambe?
I know that. I
Alright.
know that. And my answer would be Sabe and Sofia Coppola was one of the handmaidens. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'd be able to say.
She was Rabe.
Yeah. Oh, see, I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Well,
I
and then
just
you
remember-
have Rose Byrne, right?
No,
And then
that
Rose,
Sophia
was in Attack of
Coppola
the
was Sasha. Sorry, she was Sasha.
Sasha? Yeah. See, I
Yeah.
don't even know. And then Rose Byrne was in Attack of the Clones.
But she was still a handmaiden, right?
She's still the handmaid. And then
That was
of course,
Dorme.
Or was she not?
yeah, that's right. She was Dorme, and then Keira Knightley was
Sabe.
Sabe. You see,
And then
I know.
Corsic and Versailles died when the ship exploded at the beginning of episode 2.
Good grief.
I know way too much.
Oh, somebody said nice title. Thank you. I thought about it. We were all trying to think of a very appropriate name to say, and the first two that Ray and Rudy and I said were not appropriate at all to put online, and so this was the one that
And we were even being nice about it.
yeah, we were
Yes,
being nice about
very
it.
nice about it. I abbreviated.
So David, he's like, let's test your Star Wars knowledge just to have fun. Those questions are insane. All right, those in that deck are the most insane. Oh, what does Ray got?
Didn't you tell me last time we spoke that you had some Naboo questions for me to see if I know?
Yes. Yeah.
Bring them on. Let's see if I know them.
Oh man, I have no idea
This
about
is-
any of these.
I did
Like,
not
this
prepare
is
for this.
beyond-
Fair warning to everybody. I did not
beyond
David
prepare
has
for
to
this.
go through them because I don't think he was prepared for this.
I'm prepared.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Okay. Are we keeping
What?
score? What's going on here?
Well,
Yeah,
let's see
whoever
if
has the
Ray
least-
can answer these Padme specific questions.
I'm not going to know any of
No.
these. All right.
I don't think any of us could really answer on the last podcast, but here we go. What was Queen Amidala's birth name?
Padme. I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it like Naberi? Naberi?
That's
Something.
correct.
I don't know how you pronounce it.
One.
Padme Amidala.
Okay, so this one's really tough. I've never heard of it before. What ruler of Naboo did Queen Amidala replace?
Oh, okay. So I don't know either of the names, but there's two conflicting stories. Either it was a king or a queen, and they contradict each other. So I don't know.
Well, this one has King Varuna.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then some other people say she came after a queen. So
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Okay, so I think this is a tough one here. When working as a waiter at a party in Boss Nass's mansion, what did Jar Jar Binks do?
Oh man.
Probably slipped and fell.
Well, I remember that he got banished because he was clumsy. So I'm just trying to think of
What was the
what he
action?
did. Did he spell something?
He flooded Boss Nass's mansion.
I was
That's the
close.
answer. Yeah.
So
That
yeah, he
track.
did spill something. I mean, technically.
Okay, so here's a
Thank you.
question for Ray that I think she's gonna get, and I think she's gonna nail it. I think.
Oh.
What was the ceremonial red mark on Queen Amidala's lower lip known as?
The Scar of Remembrance.
Yep, boom, that's it.
Without even missing a beat.
Yeah, I know. It was just like, boom.
Without even missing
She
a
didn't even need
beat.
to get the options. She already knew what it was.
Yeah, dang.
Wait, there's options?
Yeah, there's A, B, and C. And D. Oh, someone said Queen.
Wait, what were the
Beyonce.
options for Jar Jar?
He broke all of the Cadu eggs. He forgot to turn off the stove. He dropped the cake on the floor.
Okay, so the obvious question is flooded. Yeah, so
Someone
He got
said-
banished because he was clumsy.
All right, here's a softball. Who said feel, don't think, trust your instincts?
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon Jinn. I almost said Liam Neeson.
What was Obi-Wan Kenobi's final promise to Qui-Gon Jinn?
He will train the boy.
Train the boy.
Yep, Colin got it.
Yeah, James, come on, man.
Wow, some, like correct wording, guys.
I literally
speed
said
round.
the same thing.
All right, here's a tough one. Who led the Cantina band?
Colin.
There's a name.
I can't pronounce his name. It's
He had a name.
Tell it.
Is it that droopy guy?
what are our options?
No.
Okay.
He is talking about like the classic cantina, like from A New Hope.
Yeah, from A New Hope. Yeah.
Beep, beep,
They are.
beep, beep, beep.
Shoot.
Start going crazy. He's like,
No,
Choice?
I'm not gonna.
what are our
remember.
options?
Okay. A. Ichabel Gaunt. B. Doik Nats. C. Figrin Deanne. D. Lirin Karin.
It's B.
Final answer?
Someone said
B.
Daft Punk.
Figuring Dan.
Daft Punk.
Which one?
Figuring Dan.
Yep, that's it.
Wow, good job. Man, you went deep, man. Jeez.
Who was a colonel in the Imperial Security Bureau assigned to work with Grand Moff Tarkin?
Jesus.
Are you kidding me?
It wasn't Admiral Ozzel, was it?
No, none of these names. There's one
me
name in
hear the
here
name.
that I'm
Let me hear the
familiar
name.
with. Okay, A. Cassio Tag. B. Jan Dodonna. C. Wolf Yullerin.
Or
Or D.
no,
Maximilian Veers.
it
I'm gonna say
cannot.
B.
I don't think it is Admiral Yularen.
Well, Veers was
It
in
can't be.
Empire.
Veers'
Yeah.
first name is Maximilian.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Apparently. it is.
Wow.
Well, so was it? I think it's B.
I think it's
Cassio,
B.
Jan, Wolf, or Maximilian.
What is it?
It's C. Wolf Yullerin.
It was
Well,
okay. Interesting.
yeah.
You
So
guys
we almost
played
had
the
it.
VR Star Wars Batu game yet? Highly recommended it. I
All
have
right.
not.
Well, guess what? I'm going there on Thursday.
Yeah, Colin will be at Batu on Thursday. Please record everything and let us all see. All right, what other
Yep.
questions do you have,
Sam.
David?
Sam and I are going.
What
Hey,
ship
bro.
did
Sorry.
Bell Organa take to find Master Yoda?
Attentive 4.
Yep, Colin got it.
Cool.
What ship did Padme Amidala take to Mustafar?
Oh, that's what I got confused. I was like, I didn't know that ship had a name. That was the ship I was thinking about. It's like a Naboo class ship that she takes, right? 'Cause it's silver.
That's the same ship that they end up using to create Captain Phasma's armor, right?
I
That
thought
would
it
be
was-
a hint.
Okay.
I'll give you the options: Naboo Starskiff, Naboo Cruiser, Naboo Royal Starship, or Naboo Yacht.
Yacht.
Naboo Royal
Starship.
Starship.
James,
Saying
Ray?
wrong.
I'm gonna say Starship. What do you got, Ray?
Starship.
Yeah, probably Starship. Not yacht. I don't think it's the yacht.
Wow, Ray.
All wrong. Naboo Starskiff.
Yes.
You did not shut your mouth.
All right, so here's a super hard one. What company manufactured the ARC 170 fighter?
Ooh,
Oh my God.
oh, I know this one. It's the
Stark Enterprises.
it is not the Kato Nemodians. Oh, I know this. It's not them. It's the other species.
Can't be the Nemodians, right? It can't be them.
No.
You know, I've heard of this recently, actually, so it shouldn't be as hard as I thought.
So who was it? Colin doesn't know.
It's the species in Max Rebo. Hang on, give me a second.
It's not the species of
No, it's not.
All right, yeah, I'll give you the multiple choice. A, Kuwait Drive Yards. B, Kuwait Systems Engineering. C, Hirsch Kessel Drive
Why?
Incorporated. Or D, Incom Subpro.
It's B. No?
Answer
Nobody?
C.
Okay.
It's
C?
D.
Z.
Well,
Dang.
D.
so apparently we don't know anything about Star Wars. so are we true Star Wars fans then if we don't know this classics information?
I mean, this is
Find me a Max Rebo question.
There is no Max Rebo.
And then
question.
I'll just
The
get it
guy
like
who
that.
wrote it didn't even know Max Rebo existed when he wrote these.
I feel like if like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and the trivia game from Buffalo Wild Wings had a baby, this is what we would get. Just a bunch of nerdy, off the wall, crazy questions.
Questions that actually like have answers. You know what I mean? Like stuff that I'm like, there's a name for that. Like I was always like, oh, that's that thing.
What
that
was
one
the
shit.
third medal from the right that Tarkin had on his dress uniform?
Somebody probably knows that. You know that, right? Like somebody
Oh, I
out
know.
there probably knows all the
Oh, I
rankings,
know.
right? What
I
else
know.
you got, David?
From which planet did Senator
There is a skull
Anley
console
team hail? From which planet did Senator Anley team hail?
Who? Who was that?
Who?
Yeah,
Should I know
who
that?
is.
name?
Should I know that name?
You know how many
Should we all
senators
know
are
that?
in the Republic?
Did you see that giant like hall that was there and all those people sitting in there? Hey. Well, who is it? Or where?
Your options
I've
are
been having Siri. I've been having Siri trying to track your questions. She don't even know the answer.
so your options are Zagobah, Malastare, Tatooine, Naboo.
Alistair.
Yep, that's it.
Malastare.
I was looking for a Max Rebo question.
Wait, what was the name again? What was his name?
I just lost it. AINLEE TEEM. Anley team?
Oh, because I'm trying to think if Panaka says that in the Phantom Menace when he says the other options for Chancellor, because he does say from Alistair in that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What else? Basically, somebody said, basically, you don't know Jack. And you know what? You're absolutely right. We do not know.
Absolutely correct. Everything we know is just make things up. I don't know. Just
Okay,
happen to be right.
all get this if you just really think, and it's
Okay.
an easy kind of basic answer. What is unique about the Sarlacc's tongue?
That it did not get to taste the species of Max Rebo.
He did. All right.
No, he didn't, James.
It has no taste buds?
No,
Or it has taste buds?
you're thinking too deep.
Okay.
It has more than one?
I have no idea.
It's
I have
4.
no idea.
You're gonna kick yourself when you hear the answer.
What's the answer?
It's red.
It has
Basic
tentacles.
answer. Okay, the options. I'll give you the options. It is sentient. It has arms. It is a separate creature, or it is beaked.
It's beaked.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, because he has a beak. That's so. That's a trick question. That's
I
so
thought you said
upsetting.
beet as in like a
Yeah.
beetroot, and I was so confused.
Sorry, no, a beak. He has a little beak that comes out. You know.
Yeah.
He's a vegetable.
Okay, here's a super easy question. Who greeted Luke Skywalker at the entrance of Jabba's palace?
Bit Fortuna
Yep.
and the
Hey, what
Gamorrean
am
guard.
Ne Jabba no bother. That's that. I love that, man. That guy. And I even like what C-3PO says when he looks at him. He goes, "Oh goodness gracious!" He's like, "Oh my."
Okay, here's a
That's
moderate.
the costume. That's the costume that you should do, James.
Here's a moderately hard one. Who was Red leader during the Battle of Endor?
Oh, Endor. Oh, it was Wedge.
Antilles.
It was Wedge Antilles.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, good. I thought you were gonna say the Battle of Yavin. I was like, I do not remember that guy's name at all. What else?
All right, here's another just easy. Everyone should answer simultaneously. Whom did Han Solo accidentally hit with a vibro axe and send careening into the open bank or the open beak?
Fett. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
Where?
Where?
Boba the Fett. Boba the Fett.
I'm Boba the Fett. Just kidding.
Okay. Speaking of songs, who sang the hit song "Lapti Neck"?
No. Cool T-Day.
Right, but who sang the song?
Oh, who? What was her name?
Yeah.
What are the options?
Snide Noodles. Snide Noodles.
Are you serious? That's her name?
It's Cy Snoodles.
Oh, come on.
I was gonna say Noodles isn't really a Star Wars.
Noodles. I
name.
meant Noodles, guys. I worked an 11-hour shift today.
Syllable there. Someone said the Walmart greeter.
Whom did Luke Skywalker see upon exiting Yoda's hut on Dagobah?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Correct.
I was gonna say there's not anybody else on that thing. It's either Obi-Wan or R2.
All right, this one is another altogether now. Who killed Jabba the Hutt?
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia.
That's easy.
General
Okay.
Organa.
General Organa. She wasn't general yet.
Sorry, she wasn't a general
She
yet.
was
She was still princess at that time.
Captain
Okay.
Rebo.
Here's a hard one. To which Ewok was C-3PO referring when he said, "I'm afraid our furry companion has gone and done something rather rash"?
That dude has a name.
Is it Tico?
No.
Is that one of the options? Because I know
No.
that's an Ewok name. Dang it.
I didn't even know he had a name.
I know. There's at least
Number
I
3.
know Wicket. That's
Tebow?
the only name I know.
Tico. Okay.
All right.
because
What
I
are
know
the
it's name
options?
too.
Getting warmer. Okay, so A is Wicket. B is
No.
Papalu. C is Low Gray. D is Chief Chirpa.
I'm gonna say
Chief
Low Gray.
Chirpa.
That's a dope name, Low Gray.
Low Gray has to be the one. 'Cause the chief didn't even go with him on that. I know he did go with them, but he wasn't like. There.
How do you know?
I remember. Well, who was
You
it?
don't know him. You don't know his
Because
life.
You don't
Everyone
have
got
his
it
schedule.
Pablo.
Uh,
Oh, Colin, I found your question.
Oh my god.
Yes. All right.
he's
Your time has
ready.
come.
He's been waiting for this moment.
I've been looking forward to this. Hey.
Who played a red ball jet organ?
Max Rebo. Come on,
Yep.
man.
Thank you.
Come on. Come on.
I like hesitated.
Oh, yeah, I like that you actually pause. I'm like, do you not know like what we've
A
been
red
talking
ball
about?
jet organ, yeah. Did you know it was
I
called
like
a
had
red
to
ball organ?
build up to the answer.
What was it called?
A red ball jet organ.
That is the best name for an organ I've ever heard in my entire life.
Right, and the best character plays it. Am I right? Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
I don't get it, man.
Hey, at least
Don't
my
worry.
favorite
You will.
allowed the rest of Star Wars to continue. Because if
Yeah, at least
Sabe
hers-
if Sabe hadn't stepped in and saved Padme, who knows where we would be?
She has a point.
Listen, we have no
And-
idea where the
and
Mandalorian is
credits.
going, and there's a possibility that
I
he's
swear
going
to
to show
God.
up in the book of Boba Fett, and
I
he's going to change
swear
the
to
course of
God.
history, and we may find out
I swear to
that
God.
Rey is where she is because of Max Rebo. So you never know.
Episode 1 of Boba Fett. It's gonna go to the canteen. It's gonna go to his lair and just see Max Rebo playing little organ in the corner. Just
He's gonna be missing an ear,
He
all scarred up.
all messed up. But
He
he's still
will-
going strong, man.
he will change the whole course of the way that we look at the sequels, like because there's that 30-year gap, and we'll watch it, and we'll be like, "Wow, Colin was right this entire time." I'm so sorry, Colin.
Hey, didn't you say that if Max Rebo doesn't appear in The Mandalorian that you'd stop talking about him?
No, I said if he appeared in the book of Boba Fett, if he didn't
Book of
appear
Boba
in
Fett,
the
that
book
was
of
it.
Boba Fett.
I
Yeah,
swear to God,
so
if he,
We
if
only
he
had
sh-
we only had to wait a few more months.
if he shows up, I'm throwing the remote at the TV.
10,
I'm not gonna lie.
11 months.
I'm gonna lose my mind. Hey, I will shave
I'm-
half
I-
my beard if he shows
Yes.
up.
yes,
Okay,
that
We're all
that
being
is the
held to this.
deal. That is
Alright.
the deal right there.
All of
I'm
Don't you have-
not joking.
Don't you have to
to
trim
do
it
that if
anyway?
Max Rebo shows up.
No, I'm gonna grow
That's
it
the
back
deal.
out.
Don't you have to trim it anyway?
For the movie? No, that's gonna be in April and May. No, I'm gonna grow it out after I'm done with the movie. Then I'll
Yeah.
James,
Yeah.
James,
What?
you're full of Sith, man.
Half of your face
grows-
will be.
You
And he's
shave
shaving
every
his
day.
head.
You shave every day, James. That's like one day's.
Yeah, I shaved this morning.
Right,
I was
right,
completely clean
but-
shaven this morning when I woke up.
Yeah.
I'm like that Santa Claus. I'm in
Yeah.
big trouble.
So
but yeah, no.
okay,
All right, Colin.
that's the deal. If
I
Max
promise.
Rebo shows up, you have to go to work for 1 week with
Whoa,
half
whoa,
of your
whoa,
beard
Oh,
shaved.
not a week.
Not a
That was
week,
never
you're
part of the
so
deal.
lame.
Fine, a day.
No.
a day.
I
Feels
will
good.
Better
shave
deal.
it off.
Better deal. Better deal. If
Not
he
gonna
shows
better
up, you have to do the monkey tail for 1 day.
No.
1 day.
I will do a podcast with it. I will not go out in public with it on.
Live
Come
podcast.
on.
There's no way.
Live podcast.
Pop filter.
Yeah, live podcast with you on the main screen using a proper mic with nothing in your face.
Michael Owen thinks that's really funny. Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc by living inside Max Rebo. I think Michael Owen figured it out, man. I think
I think Michael wins trivia.
he wins the trivia.
I think he wins it.
Points.
But yeah, so
The monkey tail. The monkey tail is that what we're agreeing on?
I don't know. I mean, I think
Well,
David
there-
and I have been talking about James doing the half
There's the
bearded
half
thing
thing.
since
I was
Celebration
supposed to-
2019.
yeah, they thought that we weren't
Yeah.
gonna get the title to the Rise of Skywalker, and I said we were gonna get the title, and so that was the deal. If it didn't happen, I'd have to go to Celebration after that with half of my beard. And
Yeah.
luckily,
Yes,
It
but that
happened.
was that was before they knew about monkey tail and what it actually looked like.
You guys
I mean, look it up real quick, Colin. Tell me what you think. I think
All right,
Tail's
all right,
way
hang on.
way better than half shaved beard.
I will humor you, but fine. But James, also you also have to wear an eye patch because you have to be the half-bearded pirate.
That's not even a character, man.
But that was the joke that we were making at Celebration.
All right. Anyways, back
Half-bearded pirate,
to
whatever.
Star Wars. Monkey tail for the win, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was fun. The trivia. Thanks for letting me realize how much of Star Wars I actually don't know.
Yeah, thank you. For that.
But you know, Ray had a good point when she brought up the handmaiden. It's like everybody who says you don't understand
okay.
Star Wars.
See what I mean, Colin?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
see.
there's stuff in Star Wars that they don't understand. They don't know that you know, and
Clutching the pearls. Oh my gosh, that's scandalous.
James.
Put it in, Colin.
All right. Okay.
that one
I
TikTok.
okay. I have.
Shoot.
All right. I have altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Oh my gosh.
The monkey tail wins.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm
You're
on board
welcome,
with
buddy.
that. I'm
You're
so on
welcome.
board with that.
I swear to God, if he shows up, man, I would be so mad.
That will be the happiest day of my life. I will be on the internet all day.
A live podcast.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as the episode is done, I will be like, for all the haters that have not believed in my dream for the past year and a half, you were wrong. I was right.
Can you imagine? We're all there come Christmas this year. We're all watching the Book of Boba Fett. It starts off, and literally you hear the music, and then they cut to, and you see the band playing. I would just start screaming and yelling, man. I was like,
I will fly.
Yeah. Oh,
I will
God.
fly to wherever you're living with the clippers in hand to make sure this gets done for Colin.
Oh my gosh. Well, I appreciate that. Well, anyways, back to
From this full circle,
Oh, here we go.
Jason
Ray with the
Yin
monkey tail?
on TikTok is bullying me for Ray Skywalker. Thank you,
now.
Jason.
right now.
Right now.
Right now.
What did he? Do you want to tell us what he said or not? It's not none of our. I know it's your personal page. you know.
Ray was never adopted by anyone, let alone a Skywalker.
Okay, but she.
Come on, Jason.
Come on, Jason.
Come on, Jason.
Nobody needs you. Nobody asked for your opinion, Jason Zinn.
Jason Zinn. That's his full name. Let's go
Yes.
find him.
Um,
You move, Milker.
there are several people I know who, when people harass Ray cosplayers, it's not that hard to find your Facebook and your mom and wife and girlfriend.
That's so evil. That's awesome. I love it.
They
I love it.
deserve it though. Good grief.
Do it.
Can't harass, bully, and sexually harass people on the internet without expecting repercussions.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Yeah,
if we sit
because
here
I was trying to talk before, but like my connection to the internet was bad. But I think people don't understand that there's no invisible force field behind your keyboard. Like, just because you say something doesn't mean that after that it's done. Like, people can message you, find out who you are, and like ask you like, why are you? Something that I've always been curious about is why people think that it's okay to go and just trash something that you like. Because I guarantee a lot of people have gone through. I mean, I went through it a lot as a kid in high school for liking Star Wars, and it's because it was different than what other people were doing. Like, people like sports, people like other stuff, but I like Star Wars, and people thought it was okay to make fun of me for it and just having these large reactions, and it's not okay. It's not okay to to go out of your way and make fun of someone for caring about something so much. I think those people that do that don't have just don't have appreciation of many things, and when like people do that, they maybe find it that it does some type of boost to their popularity or their social life or something like that. But at the end of the day, you are a terrible person for doing that, and it's not okay. It's not okay.
Like I said earlier, people who did this are one step away from becoming those grown adults who are threatening bodily harm to a 7-year-old girl for dressing it. That's the kind of person they are. And that is disgusting, and Carrie Fisher would hate you.
Carrie Fisher would hate you beyond any. Man, I'm so sad she's gone. But
I mean, I would be lying.
What she's
I'd be lying if I say I didn't cut in front of a kid at the Harry Potter ride at Universal Studios, but I never made fun of him. I never made fun of him.
But like, there's also a difference between like somebody making fun of you for liking something and somebody who likes Star Wars making fun of you for liking something different in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I that somebody once said, everyone has their Star Wars. There's something in Star Wars everybody fell in love with. That's completely different. For Colin, for some odd reason, it's Max Rebo, which doesn't make any sense to me. For me, it was lightsabers and toys. For David, it was something. For Ray, it was Ray. And it's we all have a different journey to Star Wars, but in the end, we're all like, it's Star Wars. Like, I don't. If you like Max Rebo, I'm gonna make fun of you, of course. No, I'm just kidding. No, but if you like, if you like whatever in Star Wars, that's awesome because that's you. That's your Star Wars, and I don't want. What's the point of taking that away from somebody? Like that doesn't make any sense at all. And if anything, it's something for you to talk about. It's something for me, like all the handmaidens' names. I've never
literally blew my mind.
Yeah, like I said, I knew a few of them, and I even read Queen's Shadow. And you get a whole new perspective of who they are. But I was like, there's so many names I can't get them all. I'd have to learn them all, really, really closely. Ray and Ray are cool sometimes. Max Rebo, Jesus. But but yeah,
just the once.
I'm glad that people know stuff about Star Wars that I don't know, because that's for me a great conversation to have, and to be like, okay, what can we learn? Like, what can we like? You like Ray. Why do you like Ray? Tell me why you like Ray. Then I want to hear that, So people who treat other people like that for liking something that they don't like, it's like you're not accomplishing anything. You're not helping yourself out in any way. It's very upsetting. It really
right.
is.
And I mean, and what bothers me is that these people are going out of their way, like they are taking the time to go and attack someone like cyberly, and it's just like, if you I'm just trying to think of what is making them go out of their way and taking time out of their day just to pick on someone. It's never made sense to me, and it's just so upsetting that there are people in the Star Wars community like that.
I was thinking, like, what if we sent Jason this link to this live stream through Facebook? And
give me 2 minutes. I'll check on his Facebook.
No.
Please,
like,
no.
Give me
Please do.
30
Actually,
seconds.
no, do it. Do it.
No. That's no.
Sometimes I do it just can.
So tell me why you're so insecure. You want to pick on someone that clearly you have no idea.
Oh, you know what? Probably is. A lot of people who pick on like the whole Rey being a Skywalker thing is probably because they don't like the family they were born into, and they feel trapped in it, and they can't go and find a found family, and they don't have anybody to love them like Rey has Leia and Luke.
And Han.
It's gotten real deep.
So the next time you go to make fun of somebody for saying Rey is a Skywalker, when it is in fact, just think, point to me, where on the dolly did the fact that Rey is a Skywalker hurt you?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked Rey was the fact that she was searching for a family, searching for her biological family, but she found a family in Finn, Poe, and the Resistance. And that's kind of like me. I found my family with you guys with the Star Wars Stuff podcast and the Star Wars community in general. I joined the 501st and everyone was accepting, and
Yeah.
there really hasn't been any real issues since. And it's like, this is great. This is what I was looking for. This was what I was hoping. Like when I met Colin for the first time, I was like, wow, people like you exist. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to join the 501st. And I'm like, well, maybe there's more Collins in the 501st where I live in South Texas.
Yeah.
So I was like, hoping, I was like, Colin, there's another Colin here somewhere in San Antonio.
Okay. Hang on. There's only one Colin.
Well,
Let's make that
Someone
very
that's
clear.
like Colin. That's like pure Star Wars.
I know like 3 guys named Colin, so
Okay. There's only one Colin Weaver
there's
that
only one
likes Max
Colin Weaver.
Rebo and that has a great personality.
Max Rebo.
you know what's crazy, like to your point, David, like when I first started becoming friends with James, like I was actually kind of hesitant to talk about Star Wars because talking with James at work, it's kind of intimidating, and then going to the Facebook group and seeing all these posts and information, it's intimidating, like the information you guys know. But then as you get more comfortable and realize like there's really no backlash in the Facebook group, like people post there and they're wrong, I post there, I'm wrong almost half the time, but there's no like hate or backlash for it. So yeah, it's really cool, like to grow and to understand that, hey, there's people out there that know more than you sometimes. There's some people that just, they're not mad about it.
So here's something really embarrassing. Like I had no idea that Boba Fett was a Mandalorian until after Revenge of the Sith came out back in 2005. Like I didn't even know what a Mandalorian was called when Revenge of the Sith came out. And it wasn't until I don't know when somebody was like, yeah, it's Mandalorian, and there's this whole thing. I think it was in Clone Wars, and then I was like, oh, there's like a whole history of these things, and I had no idea.
That whole like, is Boba Fett a Mandalorian? That's all complicated because
no,
he wasn't. And then
technically he wasn't. His dad was, but that's another conversation for another day.
That's another podcast we'll have. But what I'm saying is, I was a Star Wars fan for years, and I had no idea what a Mandalorian was until the Clone Wars was like coming out, and there was a history there. And then of course you get the show and you're like, oh, cool. But yeah, so everybody has different like parts of Star Wars that they are drawn to. Why are you going to take that away from them? Like, why are you going to make fun of them for liking that? Like, I remember before I knew what Clone Wars was, I was kind of like, okay, that's weird if you like a cartoon. Like, why? It's a kid's show. Then I'm watching it. Finally,
it is not a kid's show.
Not a kid's show.
Not a kid's show at all.
I mean, it may start out that way, but it's definitely not a kid's show.
No.
I went into it thinking that this is a show geared towards kids, and as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this is so dark. This is not for kids.
like the whole story arc where Anakin and Obi-Wan are like slaves. I was like, did they really do this in a kid's show? And then like
exactly,
the guy, like the villain, is like hovering in this chair, and like Obi-Wan like hits him and like throws the chair against the wall. The dude's like still in the chair, smashed up against the wall. And I'm like, that's not a kid show at all.
Dude, when the son shows Anakin the vision of his future, and you hear the kid screaming in the background, you're like, oh my god.
So for years, I was like, I don't want to watch this Clone Wars thing, and then finally I did, and I was like, why didn't I watch this before? And so I had to like kind of open my. And then I think it was while I was watching Clone Wars is when I finally was like, dude, like it's Star Wars, like the story is still there, and that was when I felt even more in love with Star Wars watching Clone Wars, and then it was like it's all there, it's all connected, and it's beautiful, and so. I love it, and like hearing Ray today text us that, and while I was at work, I was like, oh, that just makes me so mad. It's like I want the names of all those people and be like, what is wrong with you? To where you have to talk to somebody you don't even know and be like, you don't know what you're doing. It's like, what is?
And if I find that any of them are in this podcast Facebook group, Y'all get banned for life.
Yeah, no, yeah. And our podcast group here on Facebook, we do not tolerate that at all. Like, no.
We all try to be peaceful, and I mean, and again, our views may not be the same, but that doesn't give you the right to attack other people that don't have the same views on a movie or a character or something.
Somebody said, "Hey, now it's all connected. Is for the Marvel stuff podcast." You know what? Fair enough. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump in there. I'm sorry. But
Okay. Well, can we say instead it's like poetry? It rhymes.
Oh, yes.
Does that work?
That works perfectly. Somebody posted something earlier, and they said, the problem with the sequel trilogy was that there wasn't an arching plan. And I've been telling David and Rudy that I've been reading a lot about the pre-production of Star Wars: A New Hope, and I'm like, how did George Lucas come up with this idea? And David was like, he had an idea, and then he was just kind of going, okay, yeah, we'll try this, and yeah, this will work. And we all love and adore those original movies. But then you're like, dude, those movies were not supposed to be that good. Like,
I mean,
George
didn't
Lucas,
you say that they didn't even have the plan that Luke and Leia were siblings to begin with?
No, they were not. They were never siblings. They were cousins on one draft, which I just found that out this past week. They were cousins, and Luke had 2 younger brothers, and they all lived with the Lars. And that was one draft. Anakin and Darth Vader, and we're getting to Rudy's and my archives thing, but Anakin and Darth Vader were 2 different people all the way until he wrote Empire Strikes Back.
And what's crazy is Darth Vader's suit wasn't even supposed to be a permanent thing. It was supposed to be like a space suit. He can go from ship to ship in, and then you're supposed to see the real person underneath it.
But now we're like, oh, the suit is what's keeping him alive, and the breathing is what's keeping it. It's like, that is not at all what he had in mind.
Nope.
And, everybody was like, what about Darth Vader? Vader is like the, what word for father? Like, it's like a translation.
It's German.
The Dutch, or yeah. It's like Vader means father. And it was like, dude, George Lucas never, ever.
He never connected the two.
He never
he would never have Leia kiss Luke Skywalker in Empire if he knew they were brother and sister. That would have
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, I love Star Wars. I love it all,
but it's not perfect.
If you go back to the original
all
trilogy,
of it. I'm just kidding. Sorry. You just set it out there for me. I'm sorry.
But fair enough. But yeah, it's a little something like that. So I have a feeling in 10, 15 years, the sequel trilogy will be kind of looked at as a whole, and everyone's going to be like, oh man, sequel trilogy was so cool, and look at this, they had it all planned out, and they were going to be like, yeah.
Well, so something I think that the Mandalorian is kind of doing is they'll kind of do what they did with the Clone Wars, where there were some people who didn't like the prequels, and then you watch the Clone Wars, and it made the prequels more intriguing because it did answer some plot holes, and the sequels did have a lot of plot holes. So the Mandalorian and the other shows have this chance to kind of fill in those plot holes and make the sequels more intriguing to those who didn't find it amusing or anything like that.
Exactly, and I think that is what's going to happen up until we get to Acolyte, and then everything after Acolyte is going to be all High Republic. And then once all the High Republic stuff starts coming out, people are gonna go back and watch the sequel trilogy because it's nostalgic now. It's like, oh man, I remember when this movie came out in 2015. This was awesome.
Yeah.
So
I know some people aren't really getting into the High Republic because of people are so used to TV shows and movies and all that stuff, and not that many. It's sad, but not that many people read anymore. And
it's sad.
yeah,
the books are amazing. I got this.
Awesome.
And I'm thinking once that new show comes out, then That would probably draw
Everyone's gonna
people
go back
in
and watch it. Yeah. Everyone's gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I got to read these books."
and
Yeah,
be
I'm
like,
reading.
"What?"
I just started reading the new Claudia Gray one, and I'm only on chapter 3, and I'm already like, "This is awesome. This is cool. I can't wait to see how it ends."
Dude, I'm on 4. It's amazing.
So let me ask you all this question. Back to the whole Star Wars doesn't have a like the sequel trilogy didn't have a overarching story. Who was Sifo-Dyas in Attack of the Clones?
He was the guy that had different views than the council, and Count Dooku kind of manipulated him, and then
But no, I'm just saying from Attack of the Clones. What did you know about him?
Nothing.
Sifo-Dyas is the one who ordered the clone army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you hear about him in Revenge of the Sith? Nothing.
Nothing.
He's never mentioned ever again until Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh wow, Mandalorian is gonna do the same thing with
Yeah.
the sequel trilogy, where there's gonna be stuff you're gonna be like, what is this? And then you're gonna get like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And here's another thing: who was Mon Mothma at Return of the Jedi?
She was the second woman in the galaxy at the time, because the only woman in the galaxy was Leia.
That is, I'm not even kidding. That's all you know. That is literally all you know about her when she comes in at Return of the Jedi. You
that
don't realize
was a Star Wars Family Guy joke, by the way.
Yeah, it makes sense because that's all you know. And then it's not till later you find out that she's in charge of everything. But when you first see her show up, you don't even know if she is in charge or if she's just.
No.
And then we get to the sequel trilogy, and they do some of the same stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, they have no idea what they're doing. Why? That's a plot hole. Why didn't they explain that?" You're like, dude, Star Wars has been like
Doing this for years.
doing this for a long, long time. Like, when did who was Leia's adoptive father? What was his name?
Bail Organa.
But we didn't know any of that in the original trilogy.
No. So I mean, and that's what's great about a prequel series. Is because it fills in some plot holes, and yes, the prequels did fill in some for the original trilogy, but some people were like, I don't understand midichlorians and like the politics still don't make sense to me. But then they have the Clone Wars, and you watch all the seasons and stuff, and things make a lot of sense. With the whole thing of learning of how Yoda becomes a Force ghost, like that 3-episode arc, that was amazing. And the fact that Liam Neeson came back to play Qui-Gon Jinn in a cartoon, I mean, that really shows you how important Star Wars means to some of these actors.
I agree.
Maybe not Mandalorian. Maybe not Mandalorian, but maybe in Rangers of the New Republic,
or
even Ahsoka for that matter, or maybe even the Book of Boba Fett.
I'm gonna say this: I'm surprised we haven't seen her yet. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Every book I've ever read about Star Wars, everybody goes and everybody sees Maz. So,
see, I want to see Maz, but I want to see how she got Anakin's lightsaber. Like, I want to know the answer to that question. Like, how did she end up with Anakin's lightsaber?
I think we're gonna get the answer.
Yeah.
I think actually, I think one of the original openings of Force Awakens was the Skywalker lightsaber in his hand floating in space, right?
Yeah, it was the answer, but then they cut it out.
Yeah,
that would have been dope.
That would have been dope, but I think it would have deserved a better explanation other than someone just picking up some piece of trash in space.
Well, that might be the answer. That might be the answer. That might end up being somebody in Cloud City just like flashback to like his hand getting cut off. It goes down. Somebody's like sweeping, and they're like, "Oh, a hand!" And then
they didn't answer that question. What the beginning of the Force Awakens was supposed to be was Luke's actual hand still connected to the saber, tumbling in space, and then it hits the atmosphere of a planet. The hand burns away. The saber stays. It falls into a field. A character named Naka picks it up, ignites it, sets some grass on fire. And then I'm not sure what happens after that, but then it ends up in the hands of Maz that way.
Yeah.
I guess it lands on Takodana, where Maz's castle is.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think it's gonna land there. I think it's
but her line in Force Awakens kind of ruins that when she says this was given to me for safekeeping.
So my like guess that it has to be an important character like Lando or somebody like that. Like I mean I just don't think it's going to be like a random character. Like I mean or it could end up being Ahsoka.
Yeah, it could end up being Ahsoka may have found it along the way somewhere. That would make a lot of sense because she would know what it is.
It would be pretty cool.
So I have a funny story. Many years ago, when we first started the podcast, we were watching David, Joseph. That's when David met Joseph, and my buddy Jamie and Joe were all watching Empire Strikes Back. And David was like, "Hey, look, here comes the guy with the ice cream maker right here." Before we even knew, like, and then Favreau was like, "That's not an ice cream maker. That holds money." And you're like, "Oh, that does hold money." But anyways, we're like, "What was that guy carrying?" And we're like, "I don't know." And then my buddy Jamie says he gets to wherever planet he's going from Cloud City, and he's got to go, "Hey, I found this hand and lightsaber that got caught in this thing. I didn't know what it was." And I was like, "Dude, he's the key. He's been the key the whole time." And so every time now when I watch Empire, I see that guy running, and I'm just thinking like that'd be so funny if he's like, I don't know what this is, but
those people wearing that costume at Star Wars Celebration and I'm just kind of doing
beautiful.
Like the conga line thing is hilarious.
That's my favorite.
It's so funny.
Or Matt, the radar technician at Celebration. That is the best. When I see guys dressed up as Matt, the radar technician, I'm like, you guys are awesome. But anyways, what else? We've been talking for like an hour and a half. Are we? Are we still going? Or are we gonna cut it off here? What do you think, David, Ray, anybody?
Let's do
What did you say, David?
Let's go till the sun comes up.
Hey, apparently somebody did a 7-hour podcast for Marvel, so I think we can do a 7-hour podcast for Star Wars. I'm just saying.
The 7-hour who did a 7-hour podcast for Marvel?
It was a professional podcaster named John Campia.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, we met him. I think. Well, maybe you didn't meet him because I was sitting next to Mike when he came around during the 40th panel. But Mike and I met him. We shook his hand. We said, "What's up?" Yeah,
a 7-hour. That's nuts to me. Like,
okay, I have an embarrassing story about Celebration. We all went to go get pizza, right, in Chicago, and we met up with your other friends, and we were the loudest human beings in Chicago at that place.
Our argument was about Prune Face from And I don't remember how it started. I just remember sitting down, and then all of a sudden, I just remember Craig and like James and all you guys were just like Prune Face is important or something like that. I'm like, what?
Oh, we yelled so loud. I felt so bad for everyone else who's sitting there eating. They're like,
but it was already loud, James. It was like dinner.
I mean, to be honest, if like I wasn't part of your group and I was walking by, it would make sense because a bunch of us were wearing Star Wars shirts and being like very like all just like this, and I'm just like, we are a very passionate group. It makes sense, so I would never apologize.
Yeah, but anyway,
don't apologize for that, James.
That's a great story.
I apologize for being loud 4 years ago in some bar in Chicago, and
the pizza. Don't do that. Don't do that. Ray,
I apologize for James apologizing.
Ray and Rudy, are y'all planning on going to Star Wars Celebration in 2022?
I'm broke.
Oh, no.
Right, but we may be getting some media passes. So,
well, I may or may not already be looking at my tickets. So the answer is yes, I will be going.
I am starting to work on my Max Rebo costume. So far, I've got nothing.
I'm still waiting on the poll to go up to see what character I should make.
Oh, yeah, speaking of costumes, we got another email in from Brighton, and he says Rudy should totally do a Tusken Raider, Watto, or Krennic.
Watto.
Okay.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
ready.
Do Watto. I would love to see you walking around with like wings on your back, and I'm just being like, no.
My tricks don't work on me,
Don't with
Jedi.
your only money.
Okay,
No bots, no deal.
you need to do that, but
But
you need to carry around 2 little red flags because I've seen a clip from a Lego
man.
short of Qui-Gon talking with Annie.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking
He's
about.
flying and going, red flags here. And
I
that's
got
what you
decisive chance if you want to try to.
Yeah.
I was gonna say director critic would be pretty cool, man. All like
No,
white with-
all Watto, baby. Go all Watto.
I don't know.
So-
Tusken Raider's pretty cool.
yeah, Tusken would be pretty sweet.
Watto would be solid. I still like Dengar, but
Dengar.
but Frog Lady.
Yes. I
I
think
might be able to pull
Frog.
off a Frog Lady.
No. I'm
Frog
not. I'm not even kidding you. That would be perfect. And then James could be Frog Man, and then I'm gonna have my Mandalorian costume, and then we'll just walk around the con. That would be
No.
the best thing ever.
You gotta do the guy with the JC Penney sweater.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah. Cal.
the mod cow with the JC like we weren't gonna notice.
Time.
Yeah, with your hands on your hips, like just doing this over. Well, with me because I'm so short, spoiler alert, I'm very short, so me playing Frogman would be very appropriate. Like,
Yeah.
but I'll see.
I just need to find the jar and the vessel for the eggs.
Why are they called frogs? Because they
'Cause-
look more like lizards.
Max Rebo is a good
That's what-
costume
because that is what John Favreau wrote
to
them as.
include his red ball jet keyboard with a costume. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Because I remember when it said Frog Lady, I was
They
like,
look more like newts, but
she's gonna
yeah.
have a name. And then I'm like, nope, her name is Frog Lady, and it was like
Frog
Frogman
Lady.
yells. I'm like, no, that's Frogman. Max Rebo is a good costume.
Yeah, true. I am actually. I keep seeing like those costumes, and actually in 2017 in Orlando, I actually did meet the only person at Celebration that did have a Max Rebo costume. So I'm thinking that I could probably pull it off.
We
I
can
could
do
totally
it.
pull it off.
My favorite thing I've ever seen of Max Rebo was a sweater, and it was like Max Rebo Galaxy Wide Tour. On this day, they're gonna perform at Tatooine. On the next day, they're gonna be in Attack on Dada. And at this day, it's like they never made it, because they blew up on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Finished their Galaxy Wide Tour. That is
Did
the best thing I've ever seen.
did you guys ever see the sketches from Robot Chicken that involved Max Rebo?
No,
It was.
that doesn't exist.
I have to send you it. Oh my
If
gosh, it's the funniest
if
thing.
Robot Chicken did them, I can only imagine. I
Oh,
can only imagine.
dude, it is so funny. He like ends up like yes, that's the guy. That's the guy I met. Yeah.
We can do
Yeah.
that.
You can do better. Definitely
yeah.
do better.
Oh
We
yeah.
can do this.
So no, really, like I want to find the costume that I can find someone else who has it, and I can just walk up to him like, "What's up? What you got?"
Yeah, and
Sure.
I'm like, and for Celebration 2022, I'm by then because my plan is to have my Mandalorian costume done by May 4th of this year. So if like you do that, and then I do Mando, and
James
and
does
then
Frogman.
we can just walk around. James can be like on the other side of the con, and then you guys like find each other, and then you do like the hug. It would be great. It would be great.
Why was that
Or
low key?
or
or what?
or we can get James a set of Grogu ears, and he could be eating like eggs all day.
I like both these ideas. And if I end up being there, I'll just be standing there as Sabe with a little phone, just recording everything.
Yeah. Who else could you dress? I know your Sabe looks amazing. And you got Ray. Who else would you want to cosplay as?
I'm currently commissioning a senatorial Leia, so from A New Hope. So
Oh,
have that done sometime soon.
sweet.
I still have to finish my Han Solo because honestly, the only thing I need is the pants, like the official pants. Yes, there's official pants for Han Solo, and they're like $350. Like, yeah.
It's okay. The frog lady, just the head and the arms was like $850.
But dude, honestly though, I would totally do that costume if like I was smaller. Like I would totally
I'm
wear
not
that.
a small guy, Colin. Like I
you're
am
not?
not small. No,
Okay.
God,
He's not a
no.
small guy.
I am
Okay.
not a small guy. But Cad Bane, Cad
Cad-
Bane,
Cad Bane would be a lot of work.
but it would be worth it.
Oh yeah.
If you watch our celebration stuff that we did, you see Joseph's like, there's Cad Bane. I was like, where? And I cut to him, and this dude was like amazingly dressed as Cad Bane. We're like, that guy was awesome.
So so I love seeing people like in these amazing costumes, but what's really funny is that their voices don't match the costume. So,
But
So-
so you say that. So this guy walked by as Cad Bane. You hear him go like, "Yeah, well, I told her I was gonna leave it over here," and we're like, "What? That's not how Cad Bane sounds." Yeah, it was amazing.
yeah. So yeah, man. Star Wars Celebration 2022. Here we come. That'll be a good one.
2022.
Yeah. Well, I think that was fun. We talked a lot, and again, like we said, if you're a bully and you want to talk trash, you're a horrible
Say it to our
person.
faces.
You're a
Yeah.
horrible person. Like
You're
I
not
mean,
a nice person at all. We don't tolerate that at all. And don't pick on Ray because you got all of us to go through also. She can handle herself, obviously, but
Yeah.
we're also going to want to jump in there too because
Yeah.
I don't stand for any of that.
People don't realize that picking a fight with Ray cosplayers is one of the worst things that they could do because as Ray cosplayers, we're really good at taking apart trash.
And on that note, thank you so much for watching. Oh my gosh. Ray, thank you for sharing with us today. I know it was very personal, but I really appreciate you telling
dropping
us,
those one-liners. I love it.
dropping those one-liners and letting us read that. And if you want to post that what you wrote online, do it, please.
Do it.
I think that'd
Yeah.
be really awesome for everybody to read on the podcast, Twitter, everywhere. And then David's putting everywhere. You can follow us down there at the bottom. And especially since Ray's the most powerful of the podcast group.
Put that on screen.
There you go. Ray
I
is
want
the
to know
most
who
powerful.
said that.
Who did say that? Let me see who said that. I can't
Let's see
it.
who said it.
Have to go
Facebook user.
if you ever want to comment, just make sure you give us
Tim Sites.
Tim's site. Yes, Tim Sites is always posting stuff. Thank you so much. And yeah, you're right. She is the most powerful of all of us. Again, Ray, thank you very much for sharing all that with us and with everybody watching. And yeah, we'll be back Monday with an awesome topic. And again, thank all of y'all for being a part of this. And may the force be with you.
Always. Pew 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 pew. Joseph, that was for you, man.
This is the way.
We are the Republic.
Wait, oh,
Are we saying all? Are we saying all the lines? Let's do it.
I have
I have spoken.
By the light.
what did you say?
I
But-
am all the Jedi.
There you go. That's
Yes.
it. That's the ending.
I am all the Sith.
Oh, that was too. Oh, that was.
Oh,
too
that
good.
was a little too good, man.
It's
I know.
perfect.
I don't
It's
know.
perfect.
All right.
I'll have to
Well,
work on
thank
my
you.
accent.
Thanks for watching, and we'll be back later. Thank you very much.